Where are you from, Holly?
I'm from Scotland, from Edinburgh.
Ah, I hear the accent now. I'm from Scotland.
See, I don't think I sound like that, but everybody else hears me like that.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, you never hear your own accent until
I
somebody
know.
else, sort of copies it. Then you hear, oh, that's what we sound like.
Or if I have to listen to myself back on a recording. Okay, can you guys see my screen if I'm sharing
Yes,
this
welcome to the
presentation?
world of
Travel counsellors.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, what I thought I'd do is just give a brief introduction really about me. So my name is Holly McCann and I'm the Recruitment and Sales Manager for Travel Counsellors here in the UAE. As I mentioned, I'm from Edinburgh in Scotland and I've been living here in the UAE for 5 years now. Working in recruitment and sales for the last 15 years, but only been in the travel industry for the last 5 years, but have most definitely got the bug. Love being part of such a fast-paced, dynamic industry and really been enjoying it. A little bit about me in terms of destinations. So my favourite holiday destination is New York, and hopefully we'll be able to return there safely soon enough. And on my bucket list is a trip to Lapland. So as you'll see, I've got a little boy, he's 2, so I would really love that opportunity to take him on an exciting trip at some point to see Santa. So what I want to do over the course of the next, hopefully half an hour, 45 minutes, is really take you through just a brief presentation to help you understand a bit more about our business, about the business model, and to help you ascertain if it is something that might be right for you. And also, I'm just going to summarise at the end, if this business model is not right for you, I just wanted to take the opportunity maybe to give some other hints and tips in terms of my background from recruitment and being a hiring manager, kind of some hints and tips that I would give to your audience. So in terms of travel counsellors, we were established in the UK, so it's a British business established 26 years ago. And essentially what we do is partner with people who want to set up and run their own home-based travel business. So a retail travel business selling holidays and business travel products directly to customers. The business has really evolved over the last 26 years. So initially when it was set up, it was really designed exclusively for experienced retail travel agents that were working in, high street retail stores. And it is now we offer different routes to entry for people coming from different areas of the travel industry, and also for people who want to join us from out with travel as well. So as well as the diversification, we've also gone through a period of international expansion. So the first one was into Ireland, so we've got an operation there. The support function's based in Cork, and we've got travel counsellors across Ireland. We've also got our operation in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in South Africa, in Australia, and then here in the UAE. So here we launched in 2012 as part of a joint venture with Donata Travel, so probably a brand that's very familiar with everybody on the call. So as I say, we launched here in 2012. Our support function, so our support office, is based in the Donata Travel Centre on Shakeside Road. For any of you who've been crew and perhaps had to go up to the medical centre, on the 3rd floor, we're in that same building. And we've got a community here of 60 travel counsellors across the UAE. It is a global business, as I mentioned, and we've got over 1,800 travel counsellors around the world. And they're offering a really sort of bespoke, almost concierge style service when it comes to travel planning and travel booking. So they work with their customers to tailor make an itinerary. It's not to say that we can't sell a Emirates Holidays package or a Fly Dubai holiday package, that type of thing. We do have access to that product, but it's unusual for us to do that. Generally, the travel counsellor will really get to know their customer personally and understand what their kind of wants and needs are, and then tailor make an itinerary which is bespoke for them. In terms of the sort of travel that we offer, so we do pretty much everything from here. So whether that be people that are looking on short-term staycations, which obviously we've been very busy with over the last couple of months. Staycations has always been a big proportion of our business, and now we're finding that more and more customers are really leaning on their travel counsellor to understand from the hotels, in the UAE, what's open, what facilities that are available, and what they can expect in terms of CV-19 mitigation and that type of thing, and working with their travel counsellor to make sure that they pick a property that's right for them and for their family. We also sell a lot of the Indian Ocean from here, so we're very excited to see the Maldives starting to open up. It's always been a big seller for us, and we're working on product for Sri Lanka. They're due to open up in a couple of months, so Mauritius would be another big seller. But we can sell travel products really anywhere around the world. So the main focus of the business is outbound travel, so it's taking customers who are based here in the UAE or within the GCC and helping them with their travel plans outbound. We also have some of our travel counsellors who focus on business travel. So that would be perhaps a small, medium-sized organisation who perhaps got, several C-level executives that travel regularly throughout the business. And what they're looking for is one point of contact. So someone that can manage the travel itineraries, the travel plans, that knows, again, those executives' preferences, where they want to sit on the plane, has all their passport details. So we do have the opportunity for travel counsellors that want to diversify from the leisure industry, who want to have business travel and set up corporate accounts. Another area for us would be group travel. So there is a big opportunity within this region for schools and colleges, university trips. Again, they really want to use a trusted travel advisor, someone that can give them advice, also someone who is there for them if there are any issues, who can manage multiple payments as well, perhaps coming from different parents groups and that type of thing. There are a lot of clubs and groups and yoga trips and things where people want to get together and experience travel, and we quite often work on those type of things, as well as on the corporate side, so any meetings, conferences, overseas events, that type of thing we can help with. Cruise, again, is becoming a lot more popular from this region. So we also have the opportunity to tailor make around the cruise product. So not just selling the cruise, but we can help the customers obviously with the flights to get there if it's not departing from the UAE, if they want to do pre-cruise hotel stays, maybe they want to do their cruise and then go off and do some exploration. So there's a lot of opportunity for tailor making cruise as well from this region, and it has been quite popular up until this point. Weddings and honeymoons. So for weddings, it could be some of the travel counsellors tend to specialise in this area. They work with some of the bridal stores, bridal publications, and bridal blogs. They go to different wedding fairs and speak to families who are planning a wedding. Some of that might be inbound, so where they're getting married here in the UAE, but they've perhaps got family and friends travelling from overseas. Or a lot of it would be outbound, where perhaps they're looking to have the ceremony. Again, the Indian Ocean tends to be a popular one as a international wedding destination from here. So we help them and work with the wedding planners and coordinators in the hotel, and making sure that all the guests and everything have everything that they need, and supporting them with all of the plans. And honeymoons, again, it's a big decision where to go on your honeymoon, and often customers really do want to talk to a trusted travel advisor about what might be right for them in terms of a destination, and the TC will really get to know them and put together that itinerary. Also, regardless of whether it's a honeymoon or not, our travel counsellors really do go the extra mile for their customers to make sure that their expectations are met and exceeded when it comes to their in-resort experience. So we'll often be working with the hotels to try and get customers an upgrade, or if it's a special occasion, a lot of them will put together really nice entertainment packs for the kids to keep them entertained on the plane and that type of thing. So all the little added value extras and personal touches that, with the best will in the world, no online retailer who can really compete with us in that space. So what makes us different? It is that personal approach. It's the fact that we really get to know the customers, we care about them, and we want their experience to really exceed their expectations. Their packages are generally tailor-made, so it's not just a off-the-shelf holiday product, and the travel counsellors are renowned for going that extra mile, and that's one of the reasons why we do have such a high repeat number of bookings from customers. Once they've used a travel counsellor and experienced that level of service and the value that they get for their money, then they always want to come back to a travel counsellor time and time again. In terms of becoming a travel counsellor, so as I mentioned, originally it was exclusively for what we call leisure travel agents, so people that were currently working in a retail travel environment, fully GDS trained and that type of thing. We've now expanded the number of routes to entry here in the UAE, so as well as leisure, we've got a return to travel programme for people who used to be travel agents, but they've been out of it for a while. Travel trade, so perhaps for people that have worked within the travel industry, but not in a retail environment, but they've been in sales or marketing. So quite often we'll take them from a sales and marketing role within a hotel or an airline type of thing. And then we have our Travel Academy. So that is designed for people that haven't worked within the travel industry, but who have got a huge passion for travel, and they demonstrate through the interview process that they've got the right sort of skill set and entrepreneurial skills that we look for in our travel counsellors. And then our newest route to entry, which I'm sure is the one that will be of most interest to the audience here today, is the Travel Trades Aviation route. So we launched this in January. What I was finding is there was quite a big gap between people who'd worked in sales and marketing and came in through travel trade, and those coming in through academy who actually didn't have any experience within the travel industry. So we've tailor-made this programme because I believe there's a lot of transferable skills between what the crew have been doing and how they can take all that care, exceptionally high levels of customer service, and turn that into a business. And also a lot of the destinations that you will have been exploring are some of the most popular destinations that we sell. So from a product knowledge perspective, we find that people who have come from that background bring a lot of expertise in that area. So in terms of the criteria to be considered for the Travel Trades Aviation route to entry, so you have to have been 3 years experience long haul crew, and that must have been within the last 3 years. So if you left over 3 years ago and you haven't been working within travel, then we would still consider you for the academy. But if you've been working for more than 3 years in a long haul crew and it was within the last 3 years, then we would consider you for that Travel Trades Aviation route. Now also just to mention, and this is the same for all of the different routes to entry, that being a travel counsellor and running your own business as a travel counsellor, it is a full-time commitment. Now, it's home-based, it's flexible, it does offer a huge degree of flexibility to the travel counsellors, but it's not something that can be done on the side of another business. It's not a sort of part-time job that you can dip in and out of. It's not a pyramid scheme or network marketing or any of these other things that you might have heard of where, you just throw a party once a month and that's it. It is a genuine franchise business, and that does require a huge degree of commitment, particularly at the beginning. As with any set-up business, there's a huge amount of effort that goes into building your network, building your reputation and getting that business off the ground. So it's not something that we offer for people who want to do it alongside another job. Well, one of the things that we do in terms of setting up the franchise, so when we partner with you, we provide you with all of the licensing that you need. So you don't need to take a trade license, you'll be licensed under our franchise agreement. We give you access to all the back office support functions, so you don't need an accountant or a lawyer. All of that type of support is provided for you. And importantly, we also provide you access to all the products that you would require. So things like hotel rooms, car hire companies, tickets to attractions, all that type of thing. And how we operate is a commission sharing model. So you're running your own business. It doesn't have a fixed basic salary, but your earnings come directly from the profit that your business generates. So when you access the products in our system, so things like those hotel rooms and car hire companies, you're accessing them at net rate, and then you would add on a margin before you sell it on to your customer. And it's that profit margin that we split 60-40. So the travel counsellor will retain 60% commission, essentially, of all the profit that their business generates. Now, the primary source of product is through our in-house booking system called Phoenix. So that's a platform which is aggregating content from lots and lots of different suppliers and giving the travel counsellors access to dynamic pricing and that type of thing. So in this short video, it's just going to outline in the next couple of minutes a bit about that Phoenix system, and really just to give you an indication of how it works using the Phoenix system, and also how it's really helped the travel counsellors maximise the profit in their business as well.
The Phoenix system was developed basically to help the travel counsellors keep control of their bookings and make really high margins.
It's unique to us, it's our system. Nobody else has got anything like it. We believe the personal relationship is really important. That's what the travel counsellors do well. We will look after the technology and feed that to our travel counsellors.
The expertise came from within, using a combination of the brains within head office and the TCs themselves to try and ascertain the best ways to be able to build their own packages. The functionality within is like no other. The most passionate about the system are the travel counsellors themselves, the ones which are actually using it. They champion the system.
I was actually amazed at how quick and easy it was.
I normally explain to people that I've designed it with my mum in mind, who doesn't know how to use computers.
You could put together a quote and get it emailed to your customer in around 7 to 10 minutes maximum.
You're turning the quotations around quicker, and very often going back to your client quickly is crucial to actually winning that booking.
You don't even need to put in the airport code, you just put the destination in.
It's kind of 1, 2, 3, you can get it done in, a matter of a minute.
Phoenix keeps everything in one place. So it's efficient because I don't have scraps of paper on my desk.
To me, it's a one-stop shop. I can just put in my details, press the button, and there it is.
Phoenix holds an archive of all of the bookings in the past.
It's given me a lot of freedom to do what I want, when I want.
One of the many advantages of Phoenix is that it's always there.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
And if I get a call late at night, then I don't have to wait for a tour operator opening the next morning. I can go and get straight into it.
When my daughter goes to bed, I sort of get back in my office, and then quite often that's when my clients want to speak to me as well.
You can use the Phoenix system while you're on holiday, you can use it from your laptop, you can use it from your tablet, you can use it anywhere.
The commercial benefits of using Phoenix are the travel counsellors in control of the margin that they make.
You can't do that with a tour operator.
You can see your margin, you can see what you've got to play with.
We get some amazing net rates from our suppliers, which gives the travel counsellors the ability to sell it out at a really competitive price.
The enhanced service I can provide, which is primarily backed by Phoenix, has allowed me to increase my margins.
We have a huge development team. We're always evolving and changing it and updating it.
Phoenix has been developed over many years to be the best travel system there is.
We have got our directly contracted hotels, and we also have access to over 20 bed banks. We've got hundreds and thousands of properties in the system.
One click and it will book hotels, it'll book the transfers, it'll book the flights.
You can have it in alphabetical order, price order, review order.
They can look at maps, they can Google map, they can get right down to the images on the street.
So whichever way you want it, it's there.
It's a big system, but it's intuitive, and there's plenty of training available to help you with bits that you're not familiar with.
We have testimonials in there from clients, which is really helpful.
I use the recommendations on Phoenix all the time. I do trust my colleagues at Travel Counsellors.
Uses 10 or 11 different hotel sites as opposed to my old company, which has 2 or 3.
We pride ourselves on the service that we give to our clients, and we can't give that service without having an impressive system behind us.
There is no comparison. There is nothing like Phoenix in the market. Nobody's investing the type of money that we are investing into Phoenix.
It's really helped me increase my earnings.
It's not about selling what I want, it's about what is right for the customer. But what's in Phoenix is right for the customer.
So that's Phoenix. And in terms of travel technology, I mean, it certainly is industry leading. It's also very user friendly. So, even I can manage to navigate and pull together an itinerary for a customer if required. Generally, as part of the recruitment process for people that are interested in taking things forward, then we would invite you to come into the office here in Business Bay to meet with me and just really have a chat through your CV, obviously get to know each other a bit better. And during that meeting, I can give you a live demonstration of the Phoenix system so you can see exactly how that works, and we can play around with pulling an itinerary together. Technology is a huge part of the platform that we are providing the travel counsellors. It's also a huge area of focus and investment from a business perspective. As well as Phoenix, we also have the MyTC application and web portal, where now rather than you having to send all the customers quotes to them through email, you can actually sync it so that when you finish creating the quote, you can sync that and send it directly to the customer on their mobile phone through the MyTC app. So obviously here in the Middle East, everybody is glued to their mobile phone. So this particular area of development and technology has been exceptionally well received. It allows the customer then to have a look at that itinerary. They can, if they decide that they do want to go ahead and book and the travel counsellor is notified, they can make payments through the app. All their booking documentation when they make one is saved in the app. So really good and user friendly, and certainly another sort of USP in terms of the travel tech that we offer our customers in this region. So in terms of the application process, now some of you might have decided from today's conversation that this business model is not right for you, and that's absolutely fine. But hopefully for some of you, it's something that you are interested to explore a bit further. So in terms of how to take things forward, the first thing would be to email a copy of your CV directly to me. So I've popped up my email address here, and I can also share it with you. So it's holly.mccann@travelcounsellors.ae. And then we would arrange just to have an initial telephone call where hopefully I can answer any additional questions that might have come up. We would then arrange that one-to-one meeting for you to come into the office and meet with the team here, also see the travel technology and that Phoenix system that we offer. We then ask interested parties to go away and complete a business plan. So it's really important for us that potential franchisees get all their ideas down on paper and start to look at realistically what their financial expectations are and what their financial obligations are, how much time they've got to dedicate to this business. So we do provide a template for potential franchisees to get all of that information down on paper, and then you would submit it back to me. And at that point, we would arrange to have a final meeting really to review your business plan. Now, generally, by the time you've gone through that process, you should have a pretty good kind of gut instinct whether this is the right business and, importantly, the right time for you to start the business. And also, we would be in a position by that point to decide whether we are going to offer you the franchise contract or not. We don't take everybody. It is a business partnership. It does have to be the right thing for both parties. As I mentioned, timing is also really important. You do have to really consider whether it's exactly the right time for you to launch the business. For some people, you know, I talk to them and actually they go away having made the decision that they want to become a travel counsellor, but perhaps for various different reasons, it can take them another 6, 12, 18 months before they're in a position to actually take that leap into becoming an entrepreneur and a business owner. But there's no deadline from our side. We'll work with you and support you and keep in touch with you until you feel ready to take that next step. In terms of onboarding, so if you are offered a franchise agreement, obviously you would be required to sign that contract. You would also pay your franchise fee. So for the Travel Trades Aviation, there's a franchise fee of 8,000 dirhams. Now, it is a one-time payment, so not like a trade license that you're going to have to renew every year. And that will cover everything in terms of the setup of your business. So all of the setup and licensing, your training. So you would start with an initial 2-week induction. We also will provide you with a laptop with all the systems, and then we provide you with, you know, a website, business cards, marketing pack, basically everything that you need in order to get started. We would then issue you some pre-induction work, so this can be done from home to lay the foundations prior to your in-office induction. Also during that period of time, we would sort out whatever requirements we were going to have regarding your residency, so whether that be a requirement for a full residency visa, which we can provide to franchisees on a case-by-case basis. That is, again, the cost of that is borne by the franchisee. The cost of that is 3,750 dirhams. And it's for a 3-year residency visa as part of your franchise. It doesn't come with any employee benefits, so just to highlight that there's no medical insurance or annual flights home. That's all something that the travel counsellors would arrange for themselves. Alternatively, many of the travel counsellors are already on a visa, so perhaps they're on spousal sponsorship or that type of thing. And in that instance, they would instead obtain a 12-month work permit. So that is an annual commitment that's renewable, and the cost of that is just over 2,000 dirhams. These are all things that we can discuss in that one-to-one meeting to work out exactly, you know, if you were offered the franchise, what would be the best option for you. So happy to discuss that on a one-to-one basis as well. We would then get you booked in for the in-office induction. So you can see the picture there of one of the setups of our recent inductions. The next induction dates we have one starting on the 3rd of August, so actually 2 weeks. So that might be kind of too soon for many of you on the call. And then we've got another induction due to run in October. Now, as I mentioned, there's no deadline from our side. So it's not that there'll just be these inductions and then there won't be any more. We generally run the inductions 4 or 5 times a year, so there's always a period of time where we can work with you to make sure that it's the right time for you to proceed with the business. So before I kind of take some questions, I just wanted to kind of go through some hints and tips. So as I say, for some of you, this might not be the right opportunity in terms of actually becoming a business owner and an entrepreneur, and instead you are looking for salaried employment. So just to give you kind of some ideas in terms of where you would want to be looking for travel trades or travel related jobs. So the first one is LinkedIn. I'm sure many of you are already active on that platform, but it is really important to have a good profile there, to connect, to comment, to search the job postings and really utilize that platform to its best advantage. There are lots of YouTube videos of free YouTube content to help you work your way through LinkedIn and how best to maximize the platform. The other one for me that I find really useful when recruiting is Indeed.ae. So here you'll find a lot of job postings, but also interested candidates can post their CV there, and then recruiters will be able to search there for specific roles that they're looking to hire for. And also your network. You know, the UAE is a fantastic place and there's so many opportunities. People are generally really happy to connect. Obviously, many of you have become part of the Go-Getter Success WhatsApp group, and these type of networks are really, really important. So I would just encourage you, if you've not already, do try and reach out and get involved in as much as you can. In terms of CV, so I would say please do try and limit it to no more than 2 pages. Make sure that you've got your header on there in terms of your contact details. Also be mindful of the email address that you use. So some of you might have some quite quirky or humorous email addresses that are absolutely fine to use in your social world, but perhaps not appropriate for on your resume. So just be careful of things like that. You also want to highlight what your residency status is, because that's obviously a huge important here, and hiring managers will need to know that in advance. Then your education, your employment history, making sure to include all of the dates, what your title was, and then really outline your role and your responsibilities in those employments. And think about the keywords that you put in there, because again, when we look at platforms like Indeed, for example, where recruiters are searching for job titles, they'll also be searching for keywords to go along with that. So just keep in mind the content that's on your CV as well. And also mention any technology or system experience that you have, because that can also be hugely beneficial. I know some people love the flashy images and logos and bright colours on your CV. It isn't really required, so you can, keep it as basic. It's more about the content. Also make sure that the most kind of the largest chunk of your resume is taken up by your most recent or most relevant roles, and then shorten the positions further back. So quite often people will have had many jobs earlier on in their career, but actually the content in them isn't as relevant. So it's absolutely acceptable just to put the job title and the dates there without putting all the roles and responsibilities if they were many, many years ago. Also, just don't split text across the 2 pages, because when recruiters print them out, things can get lost. So do try and make sure that the page break is at the same break as the paragraph. Make sure you've got professional language, check your grammar and your spelling. I would always submit it in Word format. Again, a lot of recruitment agencies might want to add their own branding and edit your contact details before sending it on to hiring managers. So perhaps sending it in a Word format would be helpful. Be truthful. There is no point in saying things on your resume that are not true, and it will come out eventually. So just make sure that everything you've got in there is accurate. And sell yourself and tailor your resume for each application. So it may be that there's different types of roles that you're putting yourself forward. Just look at the resume and again think about the keywords and the transferable skills and how you can tailor it to make sure that it's really appropriate for that role. The other kind of piece of advice for me is to Google yourself. Most hiring managers will, if not at the initial application process, definitely by interview stage, probably have Googled you. So make sure that what you find and what you see about yourself on Google is what you would want a potential employer to be viewing. And if you have got social media pages that are perhaps full of things that you wouldn't necessarily want hiring managers to see, make sure that you've got all your privacy settings set up. On the interview day, make sure you've researched the company. There's nothing more disappointing to me than when I invite someone in for an interview and ask them what they know about travel counsellors and they tell me nothing. Make sure you've done your research. There's so much available online, and even on the company's own website, you'll find lots of information. Review the job spec in advance, and then think about experiences that you've had where you can demonstrate the sort of skills that they're requiring on that resume, on that job spec. Think about it from the hiring manager's point of view, and if you think that there are reservations or concerns that they might have, already have some rebuttal and some answers planned for that. Make sure that you arrive 5 or 10 minutes early and that you are smiling, warm, positive demeanour. Think about your grooming, so business dress, and make sure you've got some questions prepared. So again, nothing more disappointed than to get to the end of an interview and offer the interviewee an opportunity to ask questions and they don't have any. So make sure you've got some planned. It's also a good opportunity to do a bit of a soft close on the interviewer. So to ask them, you know, from everything that I've told you today, do you have any reservations? Is there anything that you'd like me to elaborate on? It's also a really good opportunity just to reconfirm your interest and reconfirm that you do seriously want to be considered for that post. And all those type of closing and sales skills will certainly work well to ensure that the interviewer knows that you are very serious and very committed to being considered for the job. And finally, before I take to the Q&A, and I know that many of you have found yourself in a really unfortunate situation lately, this quote I hope will bring you some comfort, that sometimes the roads of life take you on an unexpected turn, but you've no choice to follow it to end up in the place that you are supposed to be. And that's it from me. Hopefully that was helpful somewhat, and I'm happy to take any questions that any of you might have about travel counsellors and the business model and how it all works.
Holly, is there a way to have a clearer idea before we, like, for those who have not been in the call, is there a way to find out, like, the exactly, because yesterday, I think Alison mentioned something about 15,000 dirhams. We just would like to know a bit more details, as in, like, how much would it cost all in all?
Yeah, so the travel trade aviation, so for those of you that are coming from a crew background or you've been doing long haul for more than 3 years, you'd be considered for travel trade aviation. So that's a new route to entry that we started in January. The franchise fee is 8,000 dirhams plus VAT. The only additional overhead you have to consider is around your residency. So either your visa, which again we can facilitate for franchisees, so that's 3,750 dirhams. Or your work permit. So if you are on spousal sponsorship and perhaps you're obtaining flights home and medical insurance and that type of thing, and you want to, you know, stay on that sponsorship, then you need to get a work permit, and basically with an NOC from your husband or whoever your sponsor is, to say that they've got no objection to you trading as a travel counsellor. And the cost of the work permit is 2,063 dirhams currently, and that is an annual overhead.
Okay, and the 8,000 is annual as well?
No, that's a one-time franchise fee. So that's where becoming a franchisee and buying into a franchise is also a really cost-effective way of having your own business. Whereas if you go to set up your own business and you need a trade license, that's something that you have to renew every single year. Whereas with the franchise, once you purchase the franchise, that's it for the lifetime of your business.
Okay, perfect. And do you provide any marketing materials for me? For example, if I want to promote a certain destination, do I have to pay for that, or like from my pocket, or do you have a marketing team that provides like flyers and marketing material, business cards, these kind of things?
Yeah, we do. In terms of how it works, I mean, in terms of the customer acquisition, so that's obviously a huge part. So what the travel counsellors are primarily responsible for is that sales side. It's going out and finding those customers, working on those customers' itineraries and delivering that sort of exceptionally high level of customer service that we are renowned for. Most of the travel counsellors here in the UAE will start with an immediate friends, contacts, ex-colleagues, people that they know. The business primarily does tend to grow through word of mouth. So it's someone that knows you or that has booked with you will then recommend you on to others, and the business grows a lot through that model. We have also got a number of travel counsellors that are using social media. really effectively to help support their business. So while we are purely an offline business in terms of the customer cannot go onto a website and complete a booking transaction from end to end, what we can use social media for is certainly for getting some new inquiries. And that would allow the travel counsellor then to get that inquiry and turn that into a phone call or a face-to-face meeting. So there are lots of ways that the travel counsellors will get their customers. In terms of marketing support, so we provide a lot of support. We've got Katie, who's our marketing manager based here in the UAE, and she will be providing lots of different things. So social media pins, WhatsApp pins, because we found that's been a good platform. There's a contact centre that we've created where you as the travel counsellor can go and use different images and text to create whatever marketing you want to send out to your customer. We also have a weekly mailer that goes out to the database once per week, where again we will have created that content. It looks like it's come from the travel counsellor, but we've actually behind the scenes created that content for you. Now, what we don't do is send anything to your customer database that you've not approved. So every week the marketing manager will send you the information. This is what's going out on this week's mailer. So for example, this week I know that we've got 4 special offers for the Maldives being highlighted, and then we've got 3 staycation offers. So all of the travel counsellors will have seen that, and then they'll decide if they want to opt all of their customer database into it, or if they maybe only want to opt a small amount, or if there are certain people that they know actually these are friends and family based overseas, so perhaps it's not as relevant. So there's a lot that we provide in terms of marketing support and also templates for the travel counsellors to use. But really it's word of mouth. So yes, the web presence is important, the social media presence is important, but generally the travel counsellors will tell you the bookings that they get, it's word of mouth and customer referrals.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What makes you different? What makes a travel counsellor different than a travel agent?
The travel counsellor model is really about that high touch personal service. So in terms of what a customer can expect, it really will be the fact that the travel counsellor is going above and beyond. For many other retail travel agents, for example, the travel consultant will be on a fixed basic salary and not really impacted regardless of how many sales they make that month, nor how much the customer enjoyed their trip. With our travel counsellors, they genuinely care more than anyone else about their customers and about the experience that they've got, and that the holiday package or the trip that they're taking is going to be perfect for them. And it's that level of attention to detail and the personal relationships that the travel counsellors make with their customers that really make such a difference. Also, we have great buying power. We've got, as I mentioned, over 1,800 travel counsellors globally. Here in the UAE, we're part of a joint venture with Donata, so we also have the benefit of their buying power in the region. So our product is often very good value for money as well. So while we're not out there selling on price, we are competitive in the market. So for a lot of customers, the 2 aspects of that make it an absolutely really attractive proposition to use a travel counsellor rather than to do it themselves. They want that the personal service, but also that human to human assisted travel rather than blindly going online and hoping that what you've picked is the best option. Because let's be honest, if you go online and put in the Maldives, every resort in the Maldives will tell you it's the best one there. So you want a human that can really narrow it down and say, based on what I know about you, this is what I would recommend for you and your family.
Okay. The other thing I want to ask you, I operate as a wedding celebrant, and so most of the times I always ask my couples whether they've, have they planned a honeymoon. And the reason I ask that is because I totally believe that it's important for a couple to go on a honeymoon after the wedding, because it's the time that they are totally on their own and the real world doesn't exist. So no bills to pay, none of those things. So that's why I'm always asking, I always ask them that. But I'm just sitting thinking, is that as a wedding celebrant, is there any way that I could perhaps, freelancer perhaps, as a travel counsellor, offer that as an offer, another deal for my bridal couples, for instance?
Yeah.
Or do you have to be fully fledged?
Yeah, it would probably be good for us to talk one-to-one just to understand exactly what that commitment is and how that role kind of operates. It may well be that actually that's a full-time commitment, and in that instance, you know, as I mentioned, it's not something that we would do on the side of that business. Maybe that we could perhaps connect you with another travel counsellor who specialised in honeymoons, so that you have got that trusted travel advisor to pass those lovely new married couples on to. So that's certainly something that we could discuss. But yeah, send me an email and I'll give you a call and chat through your specific situation for sure.
Okay, thanks, Holly.
No worries. I'm conscious that we may get cut off this call. If that does happen, please just re-click the link and it will restart again. So hopefully we'll be okay, but if it does cut off, then just re-click the link. Did anyone else have any other questions for me?
Yes, I do have a question. Like, basically, your clients are the ones who would like to go on a specific place or like organize a specific tour. But could I, for example, if I become part of the team, like make a custom make? For example, Eid is coming. I would like to make a 5 days holiday package, and I can advertise. I make it from A to Z, like from day 1, day 2. I plan a whole itinerary and basically package it and basically advertise it to go as a group tour. Do we have a flexibility, or is it just for those who actually want to travel and they approach you because they have a vacation date from this date to this day? Or can we, for example, do we have flexibility to organize our own packages? So use your data, your database, and basically advertise it and have a group kind of organize a group session. Like I used to travel a lot with, so I do adventure tours, and I used to travel with strangers. So we'd be like 20 of us, nobody knows the other. And then it's like every day there is something planned from A to Z, food, dinners, everything. And that made it some sort of like something that I would come back to over and over and over. So is that something you flexible, as in you allow the travel counselor to organize on their own?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the travel counsellor really can organise whatever is right for their customers. We've had some travel counsellors who've organised some diving trips. We also have had travel counsellors who've helped people who want to go on yoga retreats and that type of thing. So particularly when it's a group of people who've got similar interests. And here in, you know, an expat community, there are a lot of solo travellers. We do a lot of sort of solo travel promotion as well. So, you know, from our point of view, there's no restrictions in terms of how the travel counsellor wants to promote that, or, you know, how they want to tailor make that itinerary, and whether they want to look at options for a bigger group. We also, as well as using the Phoenix system that you saw there, which is really effective if you're working with smaller numbers, but perhaps if you're looking for a bigger group or a more complex itineraries, we work with destination management companies. So these are organisations that are actually based in that country. So they can help us, you know, really with more complex or bespoke sort of authentic experiences and off the beaten track type experiences that you are not just as easy as going on and picking a flight and a transfer in a hotel. There are a lot of other wraparound services and wraparound experiences that the customers will probably want to offer. So that's where these DMC partners come in exceptionally helpful, is for exactly that type of trip.
Okay, perfect. And one more thing. So we got, for example, like the travel, the countries that you cover. Let's say, for example, I'd like to custom make a destination, like make a tour into 3 separate countries, neighboring countries. So, and these countries are the countries that are not included in your database in your system. Is there, for example, a chance to negotiate, as in like, can we make a custom? Because I know a lot of people as well have got this passion of, you know, I want a stamp on my passport. I've been to this country. So it could be like Afghanistan. It could be somewhere like Sudan. It could be Somalia, Somaliland. So these places, I'm pretty sure these are not the typical destinations that you plan, like in your data system. So is there flexibility in negotiating some sort of adventure tour in exotic places?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, while I've obviously touched on what we sell a lot of, we have got, about 70,000 different suppliers. So it's not that everything that we sell is, mainstream products and mainstream location. We do already work with a lot of, as I say, more bespoke or unique DMCs that help us in locations where you need that type of offering. If there was, of course, a gap in the portfolio, so if we believed that all of a sudden there was a certain, high demand for a location where we didn't have the right product partner, then definitely that's part of my role, is to work with the travel counsellors. But it very rarely happens. Between the travel counsellors product portfolio and the Donata product portfolio, it really doesn't happen, because we have got such a wealth and a massive amount of product and supplier partners available to the travel counsellors to work with.
Okay, all right. And the tours that are provided have to be done directly through the travel agent, travel counselor. Not, for example, anybody can enter travelcounselors.ae and book their tours by themselves, because if that's available, then we're going to minimize the chances for the travel counselor to do a sale, right?
Yeah, no, that's correct. So we do have a website called travelcounselors.ae, and in there you can find the details of a travel counsellor. So if you had been recommended, for example, many of you met Alison, I know, yesterday, so you might have met Alison and thought, oh, I've forgotten her second name, or I've lost her business card. You can go in there, type in Alison, and it will bring you to her name, her portfolio, and in there you can find all her contact details, blogs, customer recommendations, that type of thing. But you can't go on there, find Alison's profile and book a holiday. Similarly, if you had just heard of travel counsellors but actually didn't have a specific travel counsellor to contact, you can go on there, pop in your location. So, here I would put in Business Bay Dubai, and it will bring you into the profiles of all the travel counsellors that are located nearest to you as well. But 9 times out of 10, someone who has found the travel counsellor's profile, it's because they've been recommended. But yeah, they take that offline, contact the TC, who will at very least arrange a phone call, if not a face-to-face meeting, depending on the complexity of the trip. But they can't book an end-to-end product online. That's not our business.
Okay, all right, and basically the training, I think like you do provide a training first before, like training academy or something. Is that at a cost, or that part of the franchise?
That's all part of the franchise. So you start with the pre-induction modules. So we have a e-learning platform here called Coach, and it's got thousands and thousands of different modules, but we will set you a learning path to complete prior to your in-office induction. You just do that from home. The in-office induction is 2 weeks for the Travel Trades Aviation Programme. And then again, you'll be back on that e-learning platform called Coach to do follow-up modules and additional training. I mean, many of the travel counsellors, even those that have been in the business for years, will tell you there's always things to learn, whether it be new products, new hotels, and processes, that type of thing. But it's not that you have to complete every single module in that e-learning platform before your business can actually go live. Once you've completed your in-office induction for 2 weeks, that's when you will be able to launch the business. So that's when you will have access to all the booking systems. You can start marketing, start taking customer inquiries. The remainder of your training is sort of a earn as you learn type approach to it, and where of course you will be supported and encouraged to get involved in training, but you will be actually running the business alongside that in parallel.
Excellent. All right, great.
Very
Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Thanks very much for that.
No problem. Did anybody else have any questions for me?
I have one question. I asked yesterday about if it's possible to work from another country, like for example, work from Canada.
So unfortunately, it's not possible to do the business from Canada. We don't have an operation in Canada. So currently the operations are in the UK, in Ireland, Netherlands, Belgium, South Africa, Australia, and here in the UAE. So all of our travel counsellors who operate their business here are required to be UAE residents. Legally, as a franchisee, it's required, but also being realistic about our business model, with it being primarily outbound, it's about servicing customers that are based here in the UAE, not Canadian customers. So in Canada, we wouldn't have the right product, trade license, we don't trade in Canadian dollar, whereas here the business model is about customers that are here who want to travel outside or of course do staycations within the UAE. So unfortunately it's not something that you can do from overseas.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for me?
I think you've got a question in the chat box from Alice.
Okay. So it says, so a travel counsellor can prepare a package starting from a client request, or can travel counsellor prepare a package first and then offer it to client? Yeah, absolutely. So quite often from a marketing perspective, you might spot a trend. I'm trying to think of some examples. I mean, a year or so ago, all of a sudden everybody wanted to go to Baku in Azerbaijan. So a lot of the travel counsellors were tailor making itineraries and using that as an example itinerary to take out to the market to show this is the type of thing, this is how you get there, these are some sort of hotels, and here's some sort of tours and attractions. Alternatively, a customer that you know, or a friend or an ex-colleague or someone's been recommended to you might be coming to you this week saying, right, it's Eid at the end of next week. Can you give me some ideas of places that I should be considering? And then you would work with them to identify the location and then the product and then tailor make it all around them. So you have both options really depending on what your customer's requirements are.
Sounds very good.
Okay. Good. Well, if there's no other questions at this point, I would really just encourage you to please get in touch with me directly. I am on the WhatsApp group, so you've got my WhatsApp number. You can, of course, send me an email. For those of you that have decided that you do want to take things forward, then just send me a copy of your resume and we'll get in touch to have that initial call and obviously discuss some next steps. And for those of you that have decided it's not right for you, that's absolutely fine. Please feel free to spread the word if there are other people within your network that you think might be interested. And in the meantime, best of luck with your job search.
I think you've got iPhone trying to say something. iPhone.
So sorry, yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was struggling with unmuting my mic. I'm sorry. My question is, when I start at the beginning and I'm struggling a little bit despite my best efforts, is there any help that you offer for me to help me pick up? And what would be that help? In what form would that be?
Yeah, so as part of the recruitment process, when you do your business plan, that's where we really get to know what your objectives are. So for some of the travel counsellors, they are running their business and they're perhaps running it around young kids and transient husbands and, you know, all the challenges of that. So I would say they treat it more as a part-time business and where they're working around those other commitments and therefore they want part-time income out of it. For others, it's, you know, 100% a full-time enterprise, full-time commitment, and they want a full-time income. So as part of the business plan, we get to understand what is your expectations and what are your objectives with the business. I will also say that if you come in with a business plan that, based on what we know about you, we feel you've set your targets too high, then we would highlight that to you. And alternatively, if we think that you've been perhaps a little cautious with how you've set your goals, then we would encourage you to aim a little bit higher. And our role is not to set you targets and goals. You tell us what it is that you want to achieve with your business. Our role in this is to help you get there. You'll have a dedicated business development coach. So here we've got 2 business development coaches that work with the travel counsellors to help them achieve their goals. Also, it's a business partnership, so it's a 60-40 split. If your business is making no profit, we're making 40% of zero. So we're all heavily invested to making sure that you absolutely get what you want out of your business. And if you're struggling in a certain area, then absolutely we'll support you, whether that be product training or e-learning platforms. If it's that you perhaps need some, you know, help with what to say when you go to these networking events, because it can be daunting, then absolutely, we have the business development coach will sometimes even attend events with the newer travel counsellors. And there's a lot of support here. It is a really collaborative community. You know, there's 60 travel counsellors, there's 5 of us here in the office. We're still a relatively small group, but we're very tight-knit, and we really do work well and support each other. And although each of the travel counsellors are running their own business, it's not a cutthroat sales environment. You know, quite often they work together on things, they share information about things. You know, with the best will in the world, you're never going to have been everywhere that you get an inquiry for. So we've got lots of online platforms like Yammer, which is a bit like sort of Facebook Messenger or a WhatsApp group where the travel counsellors can go on there and say, I'm in this situation, I need help, what's your advice? Or I've got this client and they've asked for this and I've narrowed it down to 3 different options. Has anyone got any suggestions? And instantly travel counsellors will be coming back to help and support one another. So it is really that type of business model, and the support is definitely here for those that need it. What I would say is it is genuinely your own business. So, you know, we're not checking what time people are logged on in the morning, and we're not setting you KPIs. You are a business owner and an entrepreneur, so it's very much down to you as to what you achieve, but we're fully here to support and provide anything that we can.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Holly. That's wonderful. Thank you for
Thank you,
putting
Holly.
up with all the questions.
No problem. As I say, any other questions, you know how to get in touch with me, and hopefully I'll hear from some of you soon.
So much. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
Thank you very much.
Day.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Holly.
Bye.
Well, it's something I will